How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. Today we are looking at the crypto market, talking about whether UST and Luna are back. Hint, hint, they're not. Also talking about a couple other companies that you have to be on the lookout for. We've talked about so many recently with Celsius and Three Arrows Capital bring down pretty much a significant amount of the exchanges having exposure to them. We're going to talk about some other companies that might be insolvent as well, and then talk about Michael Saylor buying a dip and a couple other companies and DAOs that are going risk off right now. So if you don't mind hitting the like button and subscribe button, I appreciate that. It helps out the channel a lot. And just know there are links underneath the video in case you want to sign up and try out some different platforms. You can try out the links underneath the video. Now, the crypto market isn't looking great today. We're down about 4.3%. Bitcoin's right around 20,000 again. We popped below 20,000. Now we're just right above it. This is obviously a pretty tough time in the crypto market, especially historically, because usually we don't spend this much time below the 200-week moving average. Now, today we do have the Fed speaking. Actually, we have Jerome Powell speaking to the European Bank. So this is obviously a difficult time. A lot of people are looking towards the Fed to see what's going to happen moving forward. And Jerome Powell pretty much just says the same thing over and over, but there's always some fear when he's speaking. And then we do have inflation data coming tomorrow. Now, before we move on to some of the companies, I did want to just cover this because some people have been looking at this and I want to give you my opinion on it. We have Terra Luna Classic here going up 58% in the last 24 hours. And if we look over the last 7 days, it's up 145%. And then USTC, so this is what used to be UST, is now up 127%, getting closer to peg. It's still so far off of peg. It's supposed to be at $1, obviously. Now it's at 7 cents, and people are wondering, is this going back? Some people are trying to play this game, saying that it's going to get back to peg, and they can make a 10x, and if you go on leverage, you could even make more. I would not bet on that. My guess is this is manipulation from people that have been trying to get back some of their funds, and they're trying to push up the price, trying to get some exit liquidity from other investors. Just know that you do not want to be the exit liquidity. You don't want to be the person that's buying at these prices just for those people that pumped up the price to then sell off on you and get more back than for you to lose your money. I don't think there's really any chance that Luna or UST are coming back. Kucoin and Luna, they're going through a lot of different things legally as well. So I think this is mostly manipulation. I wouldn't bet anything on this, and I'm not putting any money into it either. I've been saying for a long time that I'm really just buying Bitcoin right now. And if you're buying Luna, that's kind of the opposite. That is like probably one of the riskiest bets you can make in crypto. Same thing with UST right now, because you're betting on a known entity that is failing, and you're thinking it's going to go well. This is a time when everything is going poorly in the stock and the crypto market, but now you're betting on something on the far end of the risk curve. Now, moving on, we do have the FTX CEO, Sam Bankman-Fried, saying that some crypto exchanges are secretly insolvent. I don't know who he's talking about. Obviously, he's looked into the books probably of BlockFi and Voyager, and he's trying to give them kind of a hand with some of their difficulties recently. I'm assuming he's really well connected, obviously, so I'm guessing he knows pretty much what's happening in all of crypto. And there are some exchanges that are probably too large for him to help out or for him to be able to deploy capital to. And he's probably not trying to look and help those. I'm just saying, like, some of the large exchanges like Coinbase or like Binance, not necessarily that they're in a bad spot, but if they had big exposure to, Three Arrows Capital or to Luna or something like that, it would be very difficult for FTX to want to help them because they are the company that they're competing with. So if those companies went down, for example, they would do really well. Now, that's not to say that they wouldn't try to help them out and get some kind of great deal out of it, but it's just something to think about, right? He probably knows what crypto exchanges have exposure where. And I don't know exactly why he would say this, but it does seem like you have to be careful these days. You always have to be careful. Another reason to be careful is there are mining companies now that are becoming insolvent. And this is just my opinion. They haven't come out and said that they could or couldn't pay their bills. but they didn't. So this is something that we covered yesterday. Compass Mining stopped paying their electric bill, and this is a company where you could buy a miner and then have them hook it up for you and run it for you. I actually know people in real life that are using this, not that I pushed them towards it, but they were using this, and now one of their facilities is down and they are not paying the bills. So Dylan Leclerc here says that he doesn't know what's happening on the books. He has not seen their balance sheet, but he's guessing it's not pretty. They are in debt for about $700,000, which you would think that they would be able to come up with. But now the CEO and CFO of Compass have both resigned. So who knows? It's difficult out there. Definitely difficult in the world of crypto when mining companies are just becoming insolvent. And obviously, depending on how high their costs are, it might just be that they had a bad business model. Like I said yesterday, a lot of their money, I think, came from people selling miners and buying miners, because the cost of what they were charging you to just run the miners wasn't very high. It was pretty much just the cost of electricity, from what I could tell, maybe a few extra dollars. And maybe it's just because, hey, they could put thousands of these in a facility, so if they just charge you another $5 a month or something, well, then they make up for their rent. But it is a difficult time, and obviously Compass Mining is being hit as well, or something's going on there for their CFO and their CEO to both resign at the same time. And then Michael Saylor is buying the dip. He purchased 480 Bitcoins for $10 million at about $20,817 per Bitcoin. Now they hold almost 130,000 Bitcoin. This has been for about 3.98 billion, so very close to 130,000 Bitcoin mark, and they've almost put $4 billion in. They're still above $30,000 per Bitcoin, which obviously we would need to see Bitcoin move about 50% just for them to break even again, but he is in it for the long term. And I think even though this isn't a large purchase, this really just shows that he is continuing to believe in Bitcoin, and what he's been saying that he's going to continue to accumulate is true, right? Like $10 million of Bitcoin doesn't sound like that much now, but if Bitcoin goes up to $500,000 or $1 million, like a lot of people think, well, that's a great purchase, right? That's a 20x or a 40x on your crypto or on your investment. So just something to consider. And then something I found interesting, MakerDAO looks to invest $500 million into minimal risk treasuries and bonds. The DAO intends to generate yield with its native DAI stablecoin via traditional investments in US treasuries and possibly even corporate bonds. So obviously crypto has changed a lot over the last couple months, but I found this interesting. Obviously MakerDAO is pretty big, and they have 500 million in DAI. It's a pretty popular stablecoin, and they are going so risk off. I mean, they put this on a vote to the community. But when we've looked at all the different companies in crypto, right, like some companies like Three Arrows Capital just being leveraged so far, and leveraged up all through a bunch of different companies and CeFi platforms, and then you see something like this where a DAO is going completely risk off and investing in liquid bonds and also into US treasuries. It just shows that the asset class is getting older, wiser, a little bit more risk off. And they talk about how they're doing this because the Fed is raising rates so they can make risk-free return, or really minimal risk return as well. So it's kind of interesting. Obviously, we're going to have to see where the crypto industry goes, but maybe it's going to go more risk off over time and we won't have as many of these blow ups. Now, of course, this is in a time where everyone's fearful. So when people get greedy, there's going to be people that over leverage, but just interesting to see how things change just over a few months, right? Who would have guessed that a DAO would be putting $500 million into US treasuries when just a couple months ago people were praising Do Kwon for putting billions of dollars into Bitcoin? It's kind of interesting. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Let me know your thoughts on all this underneath the video. Do you think UST is coming back? Do you think Terra Classic is coming back? What do you think about all these companies going insolvent? Let me know. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video.